uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom!
Update 1.5 is upon us, and there's some massive changes coming to the game, or have already come to the game. And I'm not talking about ignition mode. I'm talking about the change to rate of fire for pretty much every single weapon in the game. So if you want to know the best weapons now, the best rates of fire, the fastest time to kills, let's talk about that. I'm going to tell you those numbers straight away. Let's get into it. Now, I'm going to give you the big winners, the big losers, and then I'm going to talk to you about the meta and the changes that are coming from these big number changes, because they are big number changes. We're going to start with the biggest two winners for me. Well, I'll give you three, because one of them is a weapon that's Livic only, and that's the FAMAS. The FAMAS has gone from a 0.079 second rate of fire for every round to 0.0672. That's dropped its time to kill down tremendously to 0.268. Now that is legitimately good, especially for an AR. And that means that the FAMAS now has a real place in the meta. So if you're running Livic, feel free to grab the FAMAS and rock and roll, because it's genuinely going to be good. I will preface all this by saying I haven't tested the numbers yet. It's the weekend, it's family time. That means that I don't get to play, and I only had the option of either testing damage numbers or rates of fire. We went with rates of fire. We'll do numbers next just to make sure, because if nothing's changed, which I expect nothing to have changed, then it would have been a complete waste of time. We wouldn't have had a video now. The other two that were really big is the AKM. The AKM it's buffed out the yin yang. Its rate of fire is now 0.096 seconds per round. That is down from 0.111 seconds per round. That's 20% off the top, and it gives it a time to kill of 0.282 seconds into a level 2 vest. That's a big change, a big change. It means that it is now slightly faster than the M762 in terms of time to kill. We'll get to the 762 soon. Another winner is the UMP. The UMP's previous rate of fire was 0.094 seconds per round. Its new rate of fire is 0.086 seconds per round. This means the UMP's rate of fire, coupled with its big buffs it got last year, 42.8 to a base damage, means its time to kill is 0.258. Now, the problem with the UMP has always been that it has a horror show in terms of bullet speed, 365 meters per second versus, say, a 930 meters per second AUG. But in close quarters combat, it's got no recoil. It really is going to be a legitimately monstrous weapon from here on out. And it kind of reminds me of Game for Peace, where the meta is very much UMP dominated. And I feel like we're getting the numbers that Game for Peace has been running. So the Graza has also dropped back to pre-nerf numbers, 0.076, and by nerf I mean 90 frames per second. Means its time to kill is 0.228. So it's firmly now ensconced as the number 2 monster weapon in terms of CQC, with the Mark 14 coming at 0.188. Obviously, no changes on the Mark 14's rate of fire. No changes for the MP5K either. The joy of the Graza, obviously, is it's got 40 in the clip. So you may, in fact, prefer that to a Mark 14, particularly those who don't have a whole lot of recoil, because the Mark is legitimately climbing up. Big losers. Well, I wouldn't call it a loser, but the 5.56 King, the M416, is now back to the pack. It no longer gets that special rate of fire buff from running 90 frames per second, and neither does the M762. They're both at 0.094 seconds per round, and all these numbers are on my Discord server. There is a spreadsheet section there. Just click on it and you'll be able to see Bushka's spreadsheet, and it shows you all these numbers. It's really involved, shows you rate of fire, shows you damage into a level 1, level 2, level 3 vest, level 1, level 2, level 3 helmet, all that type of stuff. And it's clearly rated now, update 1.5 rate of fire and time to kill, so you won't be able to miss it. But the M416, the Scar-Rel, the QBZ95, the G36C, the AUG, they're all the same. They're all the same now. Rate of fire, damage, all the same. The M249 got a legitimate buff. When it got changed originally, they left it at the same rate of fire as a Scar-Rel and an M4, 0.94. It's now changed to 0.086. So while it has a slightly less damaging round, 39.9 versus 40.9, it has a better time to kill of 0.344 seconds to clear a level 2 vest versus the .376 of all the major 5.56 ARs, which does give it a slight little niche in the meta if you're looking for a CQC weapon that's 5.56. There's nothing wrong with running that and say an M4 as your spray weapon, and then you've got like the same ammo type for both, which is what a lot of people really love doing that. The Bison also was a little pickup. It's at 0.089 seconds per round now instead of 0.096, and that has taken it down to 0.356 as of time to kill. But look, the Bison suffers from SMG shell speed, so it's 384 meters a second. It barely beats the SCAR-L out in terms of time to kill, but the SCAR-L has 909 meters a second bullet speed. So I still would not touch the Bison with someone else's ding-dong. That's not up to me. It's just how it is. The Uzi, pretty much the same, 0.46 versus 0.047. No real changes in the time to kill there. I didn't test the P90, isn't on the training range, and I just didn't have time. That's why I also didn't test the MG3 because, family time, weekend, didn't get time to do actual gameplay. Tommy gun got a bit of a nerf, 0.089 seconds per round versus the 90 frames per second, 0.080 the Tommy gun. Actually, the old 60 frames per second, 0.080. So it's back to 0.267 as a time to kill, which, that's not horrible. It's right in line with all the other SMGs. The SMGs are clearly getting CQC buffs here. The fastest time to kill on the SMGs is still the Vector. Actually, it's the MP5K, but it's... no, it's UMP, actually. UMP, 0.258. But they're all within a shade of each other. They're literally within a split second of each other, those three guns. 0.256 for the MP5K, 0.26 for the Vector, and 0.258 for the UMP. So the MP5K, while it's the best, is very, very hard to use and get a hold of because it's on the racket. Overall, I see a fairly big chunk of change to the way we run. I'm not going to be running the M762 as much anymore. And it pains me to say it, but I still love the barrel, but the further away a target is, the more important that bullet speed is and the more valuable a 5.56 AR becomes. The barrel M762 has a 700 meters a second shell velocity. That's not going to cut it. You can run an AKM and be just as effective with a bigger round. And honestly, that's a bit sad for me. I think that's a bit of a miss. But still, big changes across the board and changes that we're going to have to learn to live with. There'll be more coming on this. This patch is legitimately the most ambitious, adventurous patch that I've seen. And I'm pretty excited about it. I can't wait to get out there and actually see how it all goes, see what happens on the playing field. I do wish that there was some way of changing the meta. It seems crazy to me that we're still stuck with this 5.56 AR meta all this time later, but I do like that they are really buffing CQC weapons, a legitimate CQC niche weapons like the FAMAS, like the AKM, like the UMP. They're giving these things a slot in the meta so that you can actually run them and then run a sniper rifle if you want. And it's then you're min-maxing. You've got your long range, you've got your short range, you've got all that kind of stuff going on, and you can pick your own meta as the case may be. I am really excited to see what else is going on in Ignition. I can't wait for Monday when I can get back on and play. But if I don't get downstairs now and watch a movie with the family, the missus is literally going to divorce me. So look after yourselves, boys and girls. Stay safe from the battlefield. I'll be around all week. We'll be doing a big live stream. If you're wondering why all these drops are Hacienda del Patron, it's just because I needed some footage, and I just love dropping Hacienda. I really do. This guy nearly got me too. Look at this. He picks up a gun and he just turns around and starts heading straight back. Whoa! Could have been nasty. Could have been very nasty. Anyway, these changes are huge. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them in the next video. We will be going into, obviously, more depth if we find any damage number changes. That'll be a big thing. And if we find any big changes in the mechanics, we'll really get into that. I will also be doing, obviously, the ASM, the Abacan, but it's really an AN94. I'll be reviewing that. I struggled a little bit with that. It does have a better burst fire mode than either the Mark 47 Mutant or the M16A4, but for all that, it doesn't seem to have a great rate of fire and burst fire. And that's kind of a weird place for me to be in the meta. But that will be coming as well. So stick around for that. I'm Bushka. Thank you so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Stay safe in the battlefield. And until next time, bye for now.